Ron from Rohde Law, and in this video we're going to talk about the best investment entity for foreign real estate investors. Ron from Rohde Law, and we're a commercial real estate firm based in Dallas, Texas. We have tremendous experience representing foreign investors who want to directly own and manage commercial real estate in the United States. So in this video, we're going to talk about a variety of U.S. entities, some of the process that you do to open them, as well as a light touch on some of the tax complexities of each entity, but primarily on the legal ownership and the ease of operations and what's best for you as a foreign investor. All right, so as a procedural matter, in the United States, there are two levels of government. We have our federal government, which is responsible for one level of income taxation. And then on the lower level, every state has an optional state income tax as well. So some of your notable states that have very high taxes: California, Illinois, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey. These states have very high income tax, and that is taxable for real estate investments as well. And some of the notable big states that don't have income tax, so you would only pay federal tax, is Texas, Florida, Wyoming, Nevada. Those states do not levy any type of state income tax. So now that we have that out of the way, where do you form your legal entities? And again, this is at the state level. So a lot of people are used to seeing corporate entities, just registered in a country, and there's only one central registry for all of the companies in a certain country. In the United States, we have federal level, but there are no registrations. Everything is done at the state level. So for example, you may have heard of Delaware. Delaware is a very small state, but has become the de facto headquarters for all of the companies to incorporate their publicly traded companies. So what we're going to recommend is, a couple of different states that make the most sense and have different options and flexibility for your needs as a foreign investor. So as a primary issue, we always recommend that you create a state level entity which is located in the state that you own property. Let's say you own property in Kentucky. Look it up. Kentucky Fried Chicken, that's the place. If you own a multifamily in Kentucky, we have to create a Kentucky, well, we don't have to. We typically always create a Kentucky SPE, which is a single special purpose entity in that state. So it'll be a Kentucky LLC, for example, that only owns your multifamily asset. Now, above this is where it gets more complicated, and we have a little bit more wiggle room. Talk to your CPA, talk to your tax attorney. I'm not a tax attorney. We do real estate here. But you can start creating different levels of entities to create different objectives, to meet different objectives. So, for example, again, we're going to talk about the major entity types. And in the United States right now, it's very popular to have limited liability companies, or LLCs. Those are probably the most popular, and they're very standard. They have limited liability for its owners. They offer you the most flexibility in management and control, additional partners, that sort of thing. And they're relatively cheap to form and to maintain on an annual basis. Another popular entity is the corporation, so incorporated. That may be more common in other jurisdictions, and you may have a corporation. There are some pros and cons to a corporation. They tend to be more expensive. They cost more to maintain due to the nature of the paperwork that's required. And that's just a reflection of the formalities of a corporation, but you definitely get some benefits on the tax side if you have a domestic corporation. You may not be subject to FIRPTA, which is the Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act. And that is a duty on the buyer of your property when you eventually go to sell. If you're a foreign entity, then the buyer has to remit 30% or 20% of the proceeds directly to the IRS, and you don't receive it, even if it exceeds your basis or your net gain on a property. They have to remit that to the IRS. You don't get that money until you file a tax return with the IRS the next year, and then you possibly will just get a refund of the money that you already were owed. But it's the IRS's way of ensuring that they get a tax return from this particular foreign investor. But domestic corporations may solve that. And so that's a big plus if your concern is about FERPTA and that withholding. So if cash flow and cash timing on an exit is important to you, may consider an entity structure like that. In addition, we won't talk about it much, but limited partnerships can also be a good vehicle. I know a lot of our foreign clients are comfortable with that structure. They understand the general partner, limited partner role, and that's certainly very common. And so we do a lot of limited partnerships. To a lesser degree, there's limited liability, limited partnerships. There's different vehicles, different trust entities. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to just jump to it. We recommend probably just an LLC in the state where you file. And then after talking to your tax attorney, we can put a holding company in a state that doesn't have state income tax, and we can pass through and make that multiple properties flow into your one-level holding company. That's really what we found in our experience to be the best fit for foreign investors. That's assuming that you're able to withdraw cash. The FERPTA is not a concern because of the timing on the cash flow, but it really offers the most flexibility, the lowest operating costs, and it really makes a sense for a lot of our direct foreign investors that don't have other equity partners and don't need a complex structure, and they're not concerned about FERPTA. Another common question that I get, and it's a little bit confusing, is should I form an S.Corp or a C.Corp? And those types of decisions are actually just tax elections, and you can have an LLC with an S.Corp election. So what we typically find is that we don't recommend corporations to hold any real estate, and same for S.Corp or C.Corp. That shouldn't be applied to a direct real estate holding company. It's really better suited because of different tax benefits for operation companies. If you have a management company, anything where you have more consistent cash flow. Again, talk to your tax professional on whether S-Corp or C-Corp election would be good for you, but that is separate and distinct from the legal entity and how you legally hold title to your real estate. That's a short video. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Drop a comment down below if you have another entity that you have questions about, or if you want to use that on your next foreign real estate investment.